Pierre Hermé. Oh, hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. I'm just looking through my recipe cookbook by Julia Wilner, the winner of the Meilleure Pâtissière 2023, and she had this recipe for macaron which I made previously and using the same recipe over and over again, perfecting the technique of macaron. So today guys, I'm bringing you the ultimate guide to a beautiful macaron, which also actually a recipe by Pierre Hermé. Not sure if I pronounced it right, but let's just get to the baking right now. So the first step is to prepare the ingredients, and this is my first tip. Use a weighing scale, a kitchen scale, because we need the ingredients to be precise in measurement in order for you to get the perfect macaron. So ensure that you have a kitchen scale to prepare these ingredients. So these two ingredients, the almond powder and the icing sugar, must be sieved together before we are going to add the rest of the ingredients. The reason is because we need to ensure that these dry ingredients are small enough and there's no lumps in it in order for us to have a smooth batter and a smooth bake. So after we sieve these two together, we are going to add in the egg white, the first egg white. Use the spatula and then fold it, mix it together until it's well mixed up. So after it's well incorporated together, we are going to add in our coloring. So the reason why we are adding the color right now is to prevent from the over mixing, over battering the mixture if we added the color at the end of the step. So adding the color at this step is the safest way to ensure that we do not over mix our macaron batter. Mind you that the color will get slightly darker after it's baked. So either you want it to be very dark or very light. So just keep in mind that when it's baked, it can be slightly darker than the batter. Now the next thing we need to do is to beat our second egg white. So beat it until it's fluffy. And we are going to leave it aside first. So now we are going to take our sugar together with the oil, pour it into a saucepan. So this part is very crucial for us to use a thermometer because the making of this syrup is what is going to play a very important role into achieving a good macaron. So take your thermometer and then we're going to leave our sugar and water to boil until 115 degrees Celsius. And once we achieve the 115, just go a little bit around 118 degrees Celsius, remove it from the fire, and then we are going to pour it into our egg white, fluffy egg white. So pouring our hot syrup while beating our egg white. This is the part where we are creating the meringue for our macaron batter. And after all of the sugar syrup is poured inside our egg white, we are going to continue beating our meringue until it's cooled down, not too hot anymore. So this might take for about 5 minutes. Now remember our first almond mixture. We are going to add this meringue into this almond mixture. Using a spatula, fold them using the folding method. You can see how I fold them right here. So this is also one of the most crucial part in making a macaron. This part is where we are going to mix the two elements together. So while mixing these two, it's important for us to keep an eye on the texture, to keep an eye on how the batter is flowing. To check if your batter is ready is to lift the spatula, lift it high from the batter. If it falls down like a soft and beautiful ribbon, means it's ready. Another way you can actually check is making an 8 shape using your spatula. If it doesn't break, it means it's ready. If you really want to make sure that your batter is that ready, take a dollop of your batter, pour it on top of a flat surface, and if it doesn't spread or it spreads too slow, or the tip of where you drop the batter is still pointing at the top, means it needs to be fold for another 2 or 3 times depending on the texture, and then you can check again. If it's spread too fast, it means it's over mixed, it's over battered already. So it's always safe to check in every 3 or 4 foldings, just so that you do not over batter it. And once we achieve the perfect texture like this, we are going to transfer it into a piping bag. So this is the piping tip that I'm using. You can just cut your piping bag into about 1 centimeter in length, but I find that it's going to give an irregular circle shape, so that's why I like to use a circle small piping tip. And then we are going to pipe it on top of our macaron silicone mat. If you do not have any macaron silicone mat, of course you can use your parchment paper that you drew a circle at the back of it so it can guide you. Or another way to ensure that you have a regular circle is to count when you pipe. So right here for the small part, I actually count from 1 to 4 and I stop. And the next one from 1 to 4, depending how big it is. If you want it to be bigger, then you can count to 5 or 6. For smaller one, you can even count from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. This method actually helped me to achieve a more even circle, so that when we place them together, it's perfectly fitted together. And another tip is not to forget to smack the tray. By doing this, we are going to release the air bubble from the underneath, and once the air bubble come above it, sometimes it's stuck there and it doesn't pop. So we are going to help our macaron batter to pop the bubbles using a toothpick. So pop all of the bubbles around. So if you found there is a discoloration on top of the macaron batter, or the surface is slightly irregular, so that means there is some air bubble there is trapped underneath it. In the meantime, at this moment, you can preheat your oven at 145 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius. So usually in a normal convection oven is at 150 degrees Celsius. But in my case, I'm using at 145 degrees Celsius because my oven is slightly hotter than other ovens. So you need to understand your oven as well, because if the oven is too hot, the macaron shells are not cooked evenly and some might crack, some might have sticky bottom, and some don't even have the chance to form the feet. After popping the bubbles of the macaron, here we are going to leave it for a few minutes first, depending on your environmental, your surroundings, humidity. This is where we are going to allow the macaron to form skin on the surface of it. So when the skin is formed, that will also actually help it to form the feet of the macaron. But be careful not to keep it too long before baking it, because the formation of the skin can be slightly thicker and it will also damage the macaron. I know there's a lot of do's and don'ts in macarons, but once you get used to it, once you get the technique, and it's just going to be easy for you. And to check if it's ready, touch the surface of the macaron. If there is no batter sticking on your finger, means it's ready, and place it in the oven. So this is a tip for me. At the 8th minute, we are going to open the oven just to release the air inside it, so it's not too hot for the macaron, and then close it back. Do the same at the 10th minute. And then after the 10th minute, we are going to bake it for another 2 minutes. So in total time, we are baking our macarons for 12 minutes. So once it's baked, we are going to remove it out of the oven and keep it aside first, just to let it to cool down before we are removing it from the baking tray. And then transferred it onto a cooling rack. And now, of course, the fun part, to fill it with its filling. So you can use any fillings that you like. You can use buttercream, cheese filling, and even a ganache montee. So I'm using a Ruby Chocolate Ganache Montee here that I had some balance from my previous episode. You guys can check it out. Raspberry chiffon cake with Ruby Chocolate Ganache Montee. So good. Check it out from there. I will link in my description box as well. And then pipe it from this edge into the center. And then sandwich it together with another macaron shell. So you can decorate it also according to however you like it. Here I decorated it using a raspberry powder because raspberry is actually more or less the same flavor with ruby chocolate. Now another thing that I would like to add is that you might have some more batter in hand, so you're going to bake it again. Ensure that the tray that you are using is not hot. You can use another tray or you use the same one, but make sure that it's not hot anymore. And then ensure that after you took out the first batch from the oven, you have already switched off the oven, and when you're going to bake your second batch, reheat it around 5 degrees lesser. So for my case, I use 145 degrees Celsius, use at 140 degrees Celsius because there is still heat reserved from the first batch, and when you add into 145 degrees Celsius again, it will be slightly hotter than usual. If you are going to add the same temperature as the previous one, you're going to add more heat in the oven. Not every oven works like this, but this is just another tip. So you need to know your oven, keep an eye on it, and work along the way. So here is the result of our macaron. I'm very happy how it turned out because it took me a lot of practice in making macarons. So it's okay if you failed the first time, you still can eat it, you still can enjoy it, still can share it with your friends and family. Just that aesthetically, maybe it doesn't look exactly the first time. It's not exactly how macaron looks like, but work along the way and I'm sure you will get there. And we have come to the end of our macaron episode. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you have further questions regarding baking, macaron, you can let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you would like to know any other baking tips, let me know in the comment section and I will get back with you with that. And thank you again, everyone, for joining me this time, the macaron episode. Don't forget to check out my previous episode. And I'll see you guys again next time. Bye bye.